It's that time of the month. It's time to look ahead at the month of May here in South Africa and for you. Things are looking up in the world of politics as it seems a few threads start coming together. It does seem like the president is exercising some of his authority and that level of power, although strong executive actions still seem a little bit limited. It means that, as ever, we don't see him doing very much, but it does look like behind the scenes he is consolidating his power and executing it at that level. For example, it looks like he might step in to assert the authority of the judges, or perhaps that is of the judge that is recommended to him for the Constitutional Court, and reasserts the supremacy of the judicial system and the independence of it, which, as you no doubt know, has been under attack with a concerted effort by former President Jacob Zuma. And on the subject of former president, it also looks like this might be the month where the Zondo Commission shows a tooth or two. Now, we know that the Commission's action seems to have to happen through the Constitutional Court, who have taken a strange approach to any action in response to that commission. But nevertheless, things are looking stronger over there as well. Either the commission itself is taking some kind of next step action or stronger action, or that could be, of course, in the matters with the Constitutional Court. But it does look as if there is an adjustment in the government. We've been expecting a cabinet reshuffle. The chart has been expecting a cabinet reshuffle already for the last month. Doesn't look like it's going away, but still doesn't look like it's happening anytime soon. In fact, what does seem to be happening is a realignment of the opposition. That is primarily the official opposition, that's the DA, but all the opposition forces. And that could also have a good result. It looks like there's a strengthening and a balance that is achieved in the area of the chart that we associate with the opposition. That might also refer to a better balance of power in the country, not that the opposition would have any power, but more like a restoration of some of the democratic promises that seem to have been eroded by the current situation and the current government. It must be said, a lot of this depends strongly on strong action by the president. In South Africa's chart this month, there's a strong cluster around the president. The president's got a symbol and the cluster is all around there. And while those are no doubt also people who are vying to stay in his good books, and which itself could indicate a reshuffle, if he just sits and basks in the glory of the support he is getting from his half of the ANC, and doesn't take any action, we could still be in further trouble, because the key challenge for this month is about inertia. Ramaphosa is finding himself in an easier position within his own party as he garners more support, and as possibly Zuma and Magashule get a little bit more sidelined. It doesn't look like Magashule himself is taking major actions, but in his chart we see a distinct reduction of popularity. And if we extrapolate that to his whole set, we can see that obviously Ramaphosa is feeling stronger, and so the challenge is to actually take action. It's one thing to be in a strong position, it's another thing to actually overcome inertia, which does seem to be one of his biggest challenges, and which is not terribly unusual for a Scorpio, but it is particularly at this time that challenge is shown. It looks like the vaccine program is indeed getting underway as promised towards the end of the month, and looks very strong and smooth. Or it's more like fast moving. It will eventually pick up momentum, and we can see from the charts that South Africans are responding to the registration for that. So hopefully that will get underway very soon. But certainly one way or another, it looks again like the president is taking charge, more to do with the health situation in the country, as he has put himself as the face of it since the very beginning. So that's not unexpected. But it does look like once again the president is putting himself forward as the face of the fight against the pandemic, and that will be significant for the vaccination program that shows as being effective fast in the chart for the month ahead. It does look like finally that engine is going in South Africa's chart and progress will be made in that department. So looking forward to that. It does look like our allies in the world are strongly supportive of us at the moment, and South Africa is having to take a serious stance about many things. So it's about stepping up and putting ourselves forward, or having to be serious about many things. And that's why it also looks like cracking the whip is probably too far a metaphor, but certainly putting one's foot down might be a more appropriate metaphor for what the government is going to do to kind of deal with the challenges that are beginning to overwhelm them. It even looks good economically, and the rand will probably continue to improve for a bit, and the economic situation remains strong and continues to do so for a while. So all of that increases the ability of the government to put a strong foot, but it also would be expected that some of that is under pressure, so that because of the developments in the vaccine program or elsewhere that's in the international eye, South Africa will be taking a very much more serious approach to many things, which, as I said, looks good for relationships with allies in the world. So there could be a shift towards a stronger foreign policy in South Africa slowly as we interact with the rest of the world more about the international crises, and presumably all those things are causing more diplomacy to happen behind the scenes. And there are also developments with land matters that looks positive as well, that could refer to further steps of the expropriation bill, but also could just refer to those issues being addressed more directly. Certainly there continues to be some civil unrest with respect to that, perhaps very strongly in the month ahead. There could be big cases of civil unrest, which would not be terribly unusual, but certainly does lead to much further development in the question of land and in positive outcomes with respect to that. South Africa's image is strengthening as we take a more serious approach, get down to some brass tacks, and deal with some of the challenges that we face. All, as ever, of us looking at you, Mr. President, to get off the inertia train. Bottom line issue is that the month of Taurus can very well be a month of inertia at the best of times. So the challenge is take the first step, whether you're the president or anyone else, and that's finally what's going to enable us to get moving into the second half of the year much faster, much better. Aries, this month you're still dealing with a lot of basics or back home base kind of things going on. You might still have to deal with a lot of ordinary old domestic matters, but this is still a very good time for working from home or doing particular projects around the house that you need to do. It's not going to stay like that the whole time. There is movement in the second half of the month where you need to get on with things associated with other people, probably in your family and especially your children, but could also just be it's moving on from home-based kind of things and you're doing something a little bit bigger than what you've been doing for the last couple of months. It's also a good time to take care of some chores around your own life, whether you're supposed to have gone to the dentist at some point or whether there's some admin, personal admin as opposed to professional admin that you're supposed to be doing. It's the time to clean up personal admin, and it's actually going to be easy because it's going to really feel motivated and strong, and you're probably going to want to throw it all away. Take it easy, don't be rash, and take the approach of asking whether everything you're looking at, is there something that I can do about this? Do I need someone else to help me about this? Or is this actually time to let go of this? That's going to sort out your month. Taurus, in the first part of the show tonight, you heard me talking about the inertia of Taurus. And you knew even then I was talking to you because, of course, you know all about it. The whole Tauran thing of you've got everything it takes, you're ready to roll, what are we waiting for? And it is a kind of inertia, especially since once you do get yourself going, it's all good. You generally do achieve what you set out to achieve. Things do work out that way for you. So it's even harder to understand what are you waiting for, because your own evidence would show that you succeeded what you set out to do. This is one of those months where you really have to remember that. It's going to be harder than ever to get yourself into action because everything seems really fine. Personal stuff, relationship stuff, work stuff, most things are going to be mostly peaceful and harmonious at this time, and that can easily become too much of a good thing, especially if the inertia is the thing that stops you. It could also be that you need to consult a little more widely in your life, wherever it is, whether it means in your relationship you need to be making sure you're talking to and listening to your partner, and in work stuff, even though it's really working for you, don't then just assume everyone else is going to follow suit. That seems to be the challenge of the month. Make sure your communications are open and that you're listening, and then your next step is the getting over the inertia and taking a step, because every step is really going to work for you. So actually, if there is an action sign this month, it's you, Gemini, because it looks like, as usual, everything is happening at the same time. You have many things on your plate and you're probably running yourself ragged, which is sometimes also not a bad thing, but it can be if you're spreading yourself too thin or dissipating your energies in some way, and mostly if you're not taking care of your own goals. There's a lot of stuff that you have to do this month that is not necessarily stuff that advances you in your life. So it might also be a good time to look at delegating or employing or reducing the load, whatever the circumstances that are the ones that are appropriate for you. You do need to make sure that you're not carrying the whole load right now. It also means you need to be more focused on particular tasks or goals. It is challenging because it's easier said than done. There literally is a lot that you have to deal with during this coming month. Also a good month for you to do some personal admin kind of stuff, and that means all the stuff that you've been neglecting and been too hasty to deal with in some kind of way. Some of it might even be coming back to haunt you a little bit as well, but all good. It's also a great time to get some absolutely totally time off type of time. Any kind of time off will be great at this time. Play, pleasure, all of those things. I challenge you to fit that into your schedule and take it from there. Cancerians, you will find yourself in your happy place on more than one occasion in the month ahead. And of course, your happy place is family, close emotional ties, and home. Home being the most important of that. It doesn't mean it's all easy though. It does look like there's quite intense stuff going on in some of your relationships, and actually there might even be some relationships that are challenged right now. Apart from challenged relationships, there's also stuff going down in the family that really needs to be sorted out in some way. For some of you, it's going to be old stuff that needs to be sorted out. For some of you, it's whatever's just come up at the moment, but it still needs to be sorted out. This is not a time for letting things lie and fester and get worse in any kind of way, because it's really all about the clear, strong, safe, emotional space that Cancerians love to create, and that is really happening for you this month. So because family things are working so well, it's worth sorting anything out, and that then can be taken to the rest of the world as well. All your one-to-one interactions and relationships are working well at this month, so it's a really good time to address stuff that's been lingering for far too long. Leos, it's looking like a getting back to your roots kind of month for you. Unfortunately, that might also mean you're still not going very far, and you might still be bound to your own environment or to a limited space in some way, but now it's looking like this is really going to work out for you. So whether it's back to the roots or dealing with home or dealing with domestic matters of some kind, all of that this is a great opportunity to really get those things much more clear and sorted than they've been for a long time. It's also a good month for things like renovating or otherwise beautifying your home, making it more comfortable in some way, and even, if the case may be, investing in the home, even buying a new home if it was something like that, or moving. All of those things to do with your space. This could really make the space work for you. I don't really think it's going to be moving for most of you, because this is really about the space that you're in and the space that you come from. So I said roots, and I do mean this is a great time to deal with family matters and things that are connected to your roots, because that will also have a positive outcome at this particular time. It's also a good time to deal with other people very close to you, people that are in your immediate environment, and especially if that's family members. By deal with, I mean clarify things or sort something out that needs fairness. Virgos, you need to branch out at this time and look for input from far away or just anywhere else that you need at this time. This could really be a good time for you yourself to go out there. If travel is possible, it's a great time for travel, or going out there in the sense of studying something or acquiring new skills of some kind. It's important that you acquire information that you need during this month ahead. And it's also important that you build that into what you're doing here. You might have taken a bit of a knock over the last many challenging months that we've had, and this is one of those times when you can set things right again. But one of the challenges is to speak up for yourself. Even if you are dealing with others, are in a close relationship or partnership that is affected, it still is time to speak out. The charts warn that you're getting overshadowed, or your needs and wishes are getting overshadowed by others. And this is time for you to actually get some of your needs out there into the open, because it's going to work, and also because you've got great information. That's why your backup this month is information that's going to let you act with some of the leadership, and things will work out. For most Librans, this is going to be a month when you can really build your foundations like everyone else seems to be doing for May. It's like knuckling down for winter seems to be what people are doing. And you're very much one of those, but there can be so much more to it. It's such a good time for you to invest in that in some way, whether that's literally investing in property or bringing some of your work home. Librans, this is a great time to be working from home or restructuring how you work in some way that allows you more time at home, and it's really just the leisure time that you're going to benefit from that way. So the challenge for you, Libra, seems to be to find the correct balance between home and work at this time, and it doesn't mean that that has to be an equal balance at all. It's the correct balance for you, and quite frankly, from your chart's point of view, it looks like a lot of what's good is at home at the moment. So this is the best time to create that space to be the foundation that everything else is going to work from in your life at this time, including, of course, your relationships. It is a very good month for strong emotional connections, for the instinctive, intimate stuff in your relationship. That's what you really need to be focusing on more, especially if the relationship has been around for a little while. Reignite that in the closest, most romantic Libran way, and everything's going to come out just the way you would want it. Scorpio, there's so much to be done and not so much motivation to do it, because a lot of it seems to be like slog work, things that you would rather get someone else to do in some way. So look, if you can get someone else to do it, this is a great time to be employing people or delegating stuff or making that happen. But the truth is, it's probably got a lot to do with you having to do a whole bunch of stuff, and all I can say is knuckle down and get it done, because it's worth it. Because underlying that in your chart shows two things. One of them is that there's clear and distinct rewards relatively early on, so you'll see the results of what you're trying to do. And the other thing is that it gives you an opportunity to pursue some of your bigger ideals, the reasons why you do things, or satisfying some goals that will feel worthwhile to you. Ideals don't have to be big, huge and fancy things. They could be the most personal of ideals, and that's what's going to be able to be pursued at this time. This is also a very important month for friends and friendship, and for making sure that you allocate good quality time for your friends, and that would especially be friends of the same gender as yourself. So, but those strong connections can be reinforced and reconnected, and your chart suggests you can rely on your friends at this time for things that you can't do or resources that you don't have to make the connection. Sagittarius, it looks like a month of both losses and gains, but the gains will outweigh the losses for all sorts of good reasons. What you will have to lose is some of your ideals or ideas or even beliefs about the outcome of what you're going to do or the future that you were heading into. And even with an astrologer here to help you, none of us really know what the future holds for us in the bigger sense of the word. And so we often make plans and we'd say the universe has got bigger plans for us in some sense. It's one of those kind of months for you. So you need to relax and let go of what you're not in control of and so-called lose some of the ideals in the process. But on the other hand, what is gaining for you is money and everything that is a useful resource for you. You're going to get help from people, you're going to get other things from people as well, whatever you're needing at this time. Mostly, you're going to get their hands. That means people's hard work, stuff that needs to be done, even the most physical, practical, down-to-earth stuff that needs to be done. This is a great time to be roping in friends, associates, and even employees, depending on the actual situation, because right now a group effort is going to make a very successful outcome. You're going to end up in a stronger position materially than you were at the beginning of the month, as long as you do some letting go. Capricorns, things are looking intense as they have been for quite a while, because all those big planets that have disrupted the world have been marching through your sign. So intense means that emotional relationships and interactions can really trigger things at this time, and the opportunity to let go of old emotional stuff, whether it's emotions you're carrying or whether they're emotions you're bottling up, but this is a time to get those emotions out there. It does mean it's a time when you're going to need the help or support of people close to you, and this is a very good time to be saying yes and bringing it on. There's a lot of strength and support emotionally for you at this time, which seems to operate as some kind of a cleansing for you. There's also good evidence that things are working out well in your material world, in your physical world. Financial matters are looking strong, and it's also a good time to institute some new ideas or new plans that are going to let your material world grow. And you also seem to be in cooperative interactions, helping you and someone else get some goals done at this time. That can also mean you're going to have to be able to rely on someone else, not something that you're easily able to do, but you've got to step back, hands off, not look over anybody else's shoulder. Somebody else is going to get some important work done for you. And by next month, you've got even more results under your belt. Aquarius, things are really looking positive for you this month. It looks like you're going to get some more money in than you're expecting, and that your existing resources are going to go much further than you thought that they could. So the challenge this month is to contain that in some way. While you've got strong resources this month, it doesn't make it a good month for spending recklessly. It's a good month really to build that in some way. You've got these very slow, long-term cycles operating in the financial department of your chart at the moment. And the smart thing to do with those is do things which have an anchor and which have a long-term result. Whether that's literally investments, if you're that kind of a person, or else simply things that are goals that take a few years to accomplish rather than that have to be done immediately. And that will help you make sure you've got those resources for a couple of years to come. Whether it's material resources or not, there's still a good reason in your chart to see strength of authority, people listening to you, people being willing to do what you say, people taking you seriously, and all sorts of reasons that helps you feel confident about things. That makes it a good month to make decisions and make judgments and have to make choices, especially since your fairness quotient is high at the moment and your happy outcomes quotient is high. What more could you ask for? Pisces, this is one of those times when it looks like nothing major is going down, but actually, if you're not paying attention, much more than you think could be going down. So looks can be deceiving. It means with everything, with dealings with other people, with even your own actions on the world, you need to look twice and look carefully. It's a little bit like you're busy kidding yourself at this time, not out of fear or any defense mechanism kind of reason, but simply because things are going casually and smoothly and it's almost like you're not paying enough attention. So pay more attention. One of the famous Pisces characteristics is that you can be your own worst enemy, and this month that seems to be coming up in the financial department, because on the one hand it shows increase in that area and it looks like you can do well at work and get good results or sales, whatever they may be at this time. And on the other hand, whether you're spending it or letting it slip away, it seems to be you're undermining yourself in that regard. So this is a good time to be making a strategy to make sure that you can hang on to your resources much better. If you're smart about it now, 2022 is going to be a very good year financially for you, but it will depend on some of the things that you're putting in place right now during the course of this time. Don't just do your usual of doing things for others. Let others do things for you at this particular time. Your financials increase and you also manage to get a whole bunch of stuff done that you weren't able to do on your own. I'll be back at the same time next week. See you then.